Hey, it's Arant here. Welcome to Pre-Sell a Membership to Create Recurring Revenue. In this training session, I'm gonna walk you through different steps that I've taken in order to launch memberships in my business. And I've done that exact same process in the business niche and also in the fitness niche. And I'm gonna give you some examples. So, with that said, let's dive right in. So in the title of this training, there are three phrases, three statements that are very important to understand. And I'm gonna break it down for you and spell it out. Number one, pre-sell. What does pre-sell mean? Pre-sell refers to selling before you are creating. Meaning, imagine that you want to sell this particular table or this particular microphone or this particular laptop or a video or a training or a template. Now, instead of going and building the table or sourcing the microphone or finding a place to source the MacBook or whatever it is that you actually want to sell, whether it's creating the course or the template or the checklist or even creating the coaching program that you're doing, whatever it is that you're selling, you are not actually creating the product first. You are, first of all, selling it before creating it. This is very important because a lot of times people spend a tremendous amount of time creating a product that nobody wants. And what happens is you spend all this time creating a product and later you find out not many people actually want this particular product and you've wasted all this time. So pre-selling is a really good strategy, especially with digital products, to actually test the waters with your audience to see that your offer is actually hitting a mark with your audience. People are actually thinking to themselves, you know what, that sounds really good. Now, I'm gonna walk you through the strategy, but this is point number one of this title that I wanna cover and really spell out and define it for you. The second part of this title is a membership. Now, what is a membership? A membership, in this case, is simply a subscription service. Something that people would be willing to pay you on a monthly recurring basis. Just like you are paying rent, just like you are paying for Wi-Fi, just like you're paying for electricity, just like you're paying for food, there is a certain amount of money you're putting into those expenses to be able to survive, to thrive, and so on. Now, all of these expenses are essentially a membership, a subscription. Even though you don't necessarily think of food as a membership, that is the reality, is that food is a membership. It is a subscription that is a must, right? So this is where you have to look at the world in a totally different way, where what could I offer the world? What could I offer X target audience that people will be willing to pay for on a recurring basis? Now, there are many variables to that in terms of what people get, but the point is they're getting something that in their mind, they're like, you know what? This is valuable enough for me. This is important enough for my survival, for my pleasure, for my growth, that I'm willing to pay for that thing, whatever that thing is, every single month. And ideally, you want to make it valuable enough that they pay for this every single month for years and years and years. That's the concept of a membership. And of course, I'll give you some examples of that. The third thing is recurring revenue. And I want to title that recurring revenue very simply because you have the idea that maybe it's a passive income. And there is truth in that. There is a passive aspect to it, depending on the business model you're doing. But recurring revenue is a much more accurate way to say it, because the reality is there's nothing passive about passive income. You really have to work to even get to the stage of having some sort of a passive income. And a recurring revenue model is something that models the same thing of a salary. So let's say you are in a 9-to-5 job, and you are working 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week, whatever is your working hours, and you're getting paid X amount of dollars for X amount of hours per day, and that's your paycheck. Now, you may have some sort of a commission structure, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, your recurring revenue comes from trading time for money. And that's a job, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing, and there's nothing wrong with that when you're a freelancer. That's okay, right? But if you want to run a business, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, at some point or another, the aspect of recurring revenue has to be disconnected from time. Meaning, you are no longer selling hours, you are selling value. And this is something that is really relevant when you're a business owner. In the beginning, maybe you're a service provider, right? You're a virtual assistant. You will still be selling time. That's okay. I still sell my time periodically as well. That's nothing wrong with that, because it also gives you experience, gives you stable income. It's all good. But the concept of growing a membership and stuff like that, at the end of the day, and growing a business online, is you want to disconnect and detach money from time. So how much money you make is not based on time, it's actually based on value. Give you a quick recap. So those are the 3 things I wanted to cover from this title to start with. Number 1, pre-sale. Number 2, membership. Number 3, recurring revenue. So now that we have covered those 3 elements, let's dive in a very specific type of membership, which is my absolute favorite type of membership. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a case study on how that would work. Now, that particular membership is called an expert Q&A membership. And let me give you 2 reasons why this particular membership is an amazing membership to start if you are an expert in your field. Reason number 1, when you are starting out, you have to think about all the recurring costs that are going to come in a business. Maybe you are paying a coach or a mentor. Maybe you are paying for some digital courses or products or checklists or resources that are going to help you with what it is that you're doing online. And also there is software costs. You may need to use a software to be able to build your business in some fashion for your email marketing, for your website, for your funnels, for your video hosting, for your video recording, for your Zoom sessions, all that good stuff. There is ongoing cost as an online business owner. Now, when you have these ongoing costs, those typically, unless you've made some revenue, you are going to be doing those things out of pocket, which is why I love to pre-sell, because when you pre-sell in your business, you can actually cover those initial costs so you are not doing things out of pocket. So that's problem number 1 and reason number 1 why you would do an expert Q&A membership. Now, what is an expert Q&A membership? An expert Q&A membership is essentially a membership where people are paying for your advice. They are paying to ask you questions. They're paying to know what is your experience with XYZ. How would you solve XYZ? What do you know about XYZ? They're paying to save themselves time from figuring things out on their own and having you as the expert tell them what to do, spell it out for them, and so on. So when you're pre-selling a membership like that, you're essentially with the goal of covering your business expenses up front. And I will give you the exact formula that I would follow to do that. Now, the second aspect to launching an expert Q&A membership is your future and ongoing evergreen marketing. Let me explain. We are all, as business owners, are in the hamster wheel of creating content. Right now, I'm in a studio in Dubai where I'm actually recording a video, recording a training session. You are probably going to have your own scenario of creating content. Maybe it's Instagram Reels, maybe it's blog posts, maybe it's TikToks, maybe it's creating a Facebook group and creating content around there, creating an email to your list, all this good stuff. You're gonna need to do all of that to put yourself out there, to add value, and to be able to nurture your audience. Now, when you do that, you have 2 options. You have to create the content, and then you hope to get customers. Or alternatively, there's a second option, which is why I love an expert Q&A membership, is you pre-sell a membership where you are answering people's questions as an expert and you're getting paid for that. And then based on the questions that you're getting, based on the answers you are giving and the content you're creating, you are then using that to be able to build your process of content creation. So let me tell you in simple terms and give you a little bit of a case study or backstory on how that works. So in 2021, it was around April. At the time, I was primarily a service provider and I was building websites for people on Zoom. That's how I work. I literally share my screen and I build people's websites on Zoom. I share my screen, I build it out, and they can watch and learn and collaborate at the same time. It's just a very efficient way of getting things done. And it's a very unique way of doing it where I've not seen a lot of people do it. So it really made it that my offer was really special because a lot of people want to get it done for them, but they don't want to be hands off. They don't want to be not involved. And also they don't want to be in a situation later where they're like, I have no idea how this was built. How do I make any changes? That's where, as a service provider, I kind of figured out my niche or my offer where I build people's funnels, websites, landing pages, all of that on Zoom while sharing my screen. Now, I tapped out how much time I have in the day and how much money I'm making because I literally was sold out around March, April 2021. Now, I noticed that the people that have built their website, they loved it, it was great, but they still had niggling questions that came later. So I thought to myself, you know what? What if I charge a monthly recurring subscription? And at the time at first it was $19 for like a week, then I changed that to $49 a month. And the concept was pay me $49 a month. And in exchange, this value that I'm gonna give you is you can ask me any tech questions you want, anytime you want, and I will give you an answer in under 24 hours, a helpful, practical answer. Now, I had at the time, and this was a pre-sale of a membership, I had 100 plus people join this particular membership. Do the math on that, $49 a month, 100 people, $4,900 US dollars per month. Now, it was give or take that much because I had probably a little bit more members and also maybe a dozen members joined at $19 a month at that particular moment. But that was the process. So 100 people at least joined at $49 a month. Now here was the promise. The promise was I will answer any questions you have and under 24 hours. So you have like expert tech support in your pocket. And also I made some additional promises, which was at that time, I didn't have any digital products really. And I said any digital products I will create in the future, courses, things like that, I will give that to you at no extra cost so long as you're a member. And I have done that. I've since created well over a dozen digital courses, landing page in a day, email sequence in a day, lead magnet in a day, various other courses along these lines. Anything to do with setting up funnels, automations, marketing, traffic, all that good stuff. So all the members that I have from that time, which I still do, this is three plus years later, they are still getting access to this particular training and getting access to all of these courses. Now, here's what happened. I set up an email where it's a unique email just for the members to email me. And I started getting questions. And what I did is I would then take that question and I would record the answer to the question that I received, but I would do it in a way that is evergreen. Meaning, let's just say Bill Jones asked me a question, and the question was, how do I trigger the first email that sends out once somebody subscribes to my newsletter or to download my lead magnet? How do I trigger that first email? So what I did is instead of recording a video and say, hey, Bill, thanks for your question, whatever, I would actually record it in a way that's evergreen. And I would do it like so. Hey, it's Aran here. In this tech tutorial, I'm gonna walk you through how to trigger the first email in the sequence of emails where you're gonna send the lead magnet that somebody has requested when they joined your email list. And I'm gonna walk you through from A to Z how to set it up so you can A, have the place for them to enter their email address, B, attach the lead magnet to the email, and C, trigger that email so it gets sent automatically, instantly, as soon as somebody subscribes to your list. Let me share my screen, show you how it's done. And that will be the end of this intro, and then I will then share my screen and show them the process. Now, I would then take that video and I would share it with the person that has paid me to ask me that question. I would say, here you go, video straight away, done. So problem solved, they're happy, they see how it's done, all that good stuff. Then I will take that video and over the next few days, few weeks, few months, depending on when it is or how much I have on my plate, I would take that video, I would edit it, or I would hire a video editor to do it for me, which is what I have now. And then I will get it uploaded to my YouTube channel so other people can benefit from this particular value, thus creating a bit of a flywheel effect where I get a question, I answer a question with helpful piece of content, tutorial. I take that piece of content to then put it on my YouTube channel. People are finding me on my YouTube channel through search. They get into my funnel, they join my membership, and then now they ask me questions, and it just becomes this cycle. Now, there's a couple of questions I know you're gonna ask. Number one, why would somebody pay and then I upload it for free? Isn't that unfair to those that paid? No, it's not unfair at all because they're not paying for the content. They're paying for a quick solution. And this is something that's really important. When you're thinking about pre-selling a membership, you got to think about what is the value. The value here, if you really break down what is the value that somebody would pay for, they're not paying for a YouTube video. That's not what they're paying for because they could have gone to YouTube themselves and somebody else may have answered that question just like me. That's possible. But they don't want to waste their time to go to YouTube. They don't want to go and fish around and go through somebody's ads and go on a Facebook group and get pitched from Messenger and all this stuff that happens. So what they want to do is they want to have somebody they trust to ask a question and get an answer in a timely fashion so they can move on. I am saving them time. That's the value of this particular membership. And this is where you got to figure out the value of your subscription, of your membership. What is the value that you are giving that somebody is willing to pay for on a monthly recurring basis? So in my case, I found that people are willing to pay for tech support. They are willing to eliminate the tech headache. They are willing to even pay to just have the option of somebody answering their tech questions, whether they're even using it or not. There are people who are willing to pay just for peace of mind. That's what they're paying for. Paying for access, paying for peace of mind, paying for expertise, pay for time saving, all that good stuff. Now, those are the different reasons why somebody will pay me on a monthly basis. And now that I've explained to you the model and the backstory of how all that works, I'm gonna get into how the heck do you pre-sell something like that. So I've walked you through the value of this type of a membership. So I want you to think about for a second, what is the value of your potential membership idea, of your subscription service? What is the value? You gotta do a brain dump. You gotta open up a Google Doc and you gotta outline all the pieces of value that you can offer in this particular membership. Now, when you do that, when you actually outline all of that, you are essentially writing your sales page. You are writing your offer. You're not creating any content. You're not spending a lot of time recording videos, creating checklists, all that good stuff. You're literally doing a brain dump of what value can you give somebody that somebody will be willing to pay for, and you do it on a Google Doc. Now, here's the thing. Once you have it outlined, what you need to do is you take that Google Doc, and yes, you can use a software to actually build out the sales page, or you can even just use the Google Doc, convert it into a PDF, and use that as your sales page. Open up a Stripe account or a PayPal account, create a payment link, and take that payment link and link it on the Google Doc and turn it into a PDF. That could be as simple as that. And I have done that as well with other digital products that I've done, just to prove the point. Even when I was already using software tools and I had funnels tools and email marketing and all that stuff, just to prove the point that you can still go simple, I still have done it. I've got templates for all of that. Now, here's the process. You would outline and mind map the entire flow of your membership, and you would outline all the content on the Google Doc. Once you have all of that, you are then going to add a payment link, and then you are going to share it with your audience. Now, I'm going to give you another case study of how to share it with your audience. This is really, really important because there's two aspects about how to share it with your audience, which is critical. Number one, there is pricing. Number two, there is visualizing to people what it is that they're getting. So first of all, let's talk about visualizing what it is that they're getting. So when I originally did this particular membership launch, I actually spent a lot of time creating this fancy sales page on Kajabi. And, I remember I spent 3 days doing it, putting together this beautiful sales page. I thought it was beautiful. And then I sent it out to my list. At the time I had a list. I don't remember how much, but I sent it to my list. It wasn't massive, but I had a bit of a list and so on. And I would say for sure under 5,000, probably under 2,000 even. Anyway, I sent in the sales page and I had well over 150 people read it. I had one person buy, one person. In fact, I had nobody buy. And as I decided to scratch the whole thing, somebody bought. So I was like, well, this is ridiculous. I spent 3 days and I thought it's going to do really well and it didn't. So I changed my tactic. I did what's called a success path. And this is something that I learned in a course with Stu McLaren, the membership experience. And by the way, this is not an endorsement for his course. If you want to learn about the course and stuff like that, just read my blog first so you don't buy this course when it's not necessary for you. You can go to eran.link/tribe blog to read that blog post. I just want to give that quick disclaimer. Now, here's the thing. The success path is all about showing somebody where they are now and where they're going to be, where are you going to take them. Now, when you think about expert Q&A membership, you're just telling people, I'm going to answer your questions. So what is the value? What is the journey you're going to take them? What is the beginning point? What is the result? So here's what I did. I said the beginning point is somebody in their mind, they're thinking, I'm not a techie. I don't understand this tech. I don't know what the heck is a funnel. I don't even understand, do I need a landing page? How do I connect all the pieces? All that good stuff. This is the I'm not a techie phase. And this part is where you have an automated systems in your business where it is working independent of your time. So essentially, you've got maybe digital products you're selling, you've got funnels, you've got email marketing, you've got automations. That is the ending part. So I'm not a techie to having automated sales systems in your business. That's the journey. And then I spelled out what are the steps to get to that point from here to here. I laid it out in a way where somebody can visually see the steps or the process. And by the way, that process has since evolved dramatically, right? And if you go to aran.link/PDF, there's actually an entire guide, PDF, massive resource that I put together. It's about 50 plus pages long, where I actually outline this in extreme detail as an evergreen piece of content so somebody could see the idea to living off passive/recurring revenue using automated sales process. So that is the success path or the success journey that I showed people. Now, I then took this particular success journey and I walked people through step by step in a simple Canva slides to walk them through the process. And I did about a 20 to 30 minutes presentation explaining the success path and the journey. And I streamed it on my Facebook profile, my personal profile. And at the end, I said, I'm launching a membership. Here is how it works, blah, blah, blah. This is the price, and that's what you're getting. And I did the offer at the very end. It was very, very simple. It was really nothing fancy. There wasn't like, offer stack of, you're gonna get this for this value. You're gonna get this for this value. It was none of that hypey stuff. It was really straightforward. Here's where you are now. Here's where I'm gonna take you. Here's how it's gonna get there. And here's the offer, which we'll talk about that in a second. That's pricing. I then did the Success Path webinar, and then I had people starting to buy my membership. I started getting sales. So I decided, forget about the sales page. I'm just going to take this video from my Facebook Live. I'm going to put it on a page, and under it, I put a buy button with little bullets on what they're going to get. And then it took them to a checkout page, and then they bought. So I simplified the entire process. But again, the success path would not have been possible without outlining the information on a sales page in the first place, which was the Google Doc. So that is how you would actually put the offer together. That's how you would pre-sell it. Now, let's talk about putting the offer together and the membership. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a formula on how I did my pricing. And this is going to take you back to the goal of creating recurring revenue in your business and replacing your income. So there are really kind of 3 phases of revenue that I like to consider. Phase number one is covering your business expenses. That is the first level. You want to at least break even. Level number 2, you want to cover your living expenses. You want to cover the fact that that is replacing your income. So if you're in a 9-to-5 job, you just replace the income. And then the third level is dreamland. Some people want to be millionaires. Some people want to be billionaires. Some people want to do this. Some people want to do that. That's all good. No worries. Not promising anybody's going to get there. It's really hard to get to those stages and get to dreamland. That's why I really like to focus with people on, okay, how do we cover your business expenses and break even? How do we cover living expenses and replace your job income? And those are the 2 phases that I really focus on with those strategies that I've just shared with you. Now, in order to do that, you gotta know your numbers. So before you decide on the pricing for your membership and before you really fine-tune your offer, what you wanna do is you wanna actually open up a Google Sheet and you wanna create all the expenses that are currently in your business and in your life. Let's just say your software costs to be able to run your business is going to cost you $500 per year or $1,000 per year. Let's say you want to also hire a virtual assistant to be able to help you with things that you're not very good at, or tech support like my membership, for example, or you want to hire a coach to help you, and that coach is going to cost you $2,000 or $3,000 a year. No worries, that's your business expenses. Let's look at it this way. $3,000 per year for a coach, $1,000 per year for software, $2,000 a year for marketing, miscellaneous, virtual assistants, maybe some digital products, resources you see. Okay, $6,000 a year. So what do? You are going to take, and I'm going to pull up my calculator. You're going to take $6,000 a year. You're going to divide that by 12, $500 per month. Now, if you were to think about that, I want you to think about this. When you are pricing your membership, and this is how much your business is going to cost you, $500 a month. Okay. Let's say that's your numbers. So your membership, if you were to get 10 members at $50, you're going to cover your basics. And that is your goal. You want to get 10 members at $50. Or, different way of looking at it, you want to get 20 members at $25, okay? Or you want to get 20 members at $30 if you want to get a little bit higher amount because you may want to cover taxes or interest or whatever. The point is that you're going to figure out what is your number goal with those things in mind, with your business revenue and then living expenses revenue. And when you do your pre-sale, you want to minimally hit the target of replacing your business expenses and covering those costs. And you got to crunch your numbers. Now, let's just say, because your niche is, I don't know your niche, it depends, right? Let's say in your niche, the biggest competitor or the main competitor charges $100 per month. So you could say, okay, I'm going to charge $80 per month, but in the founding member launch, you're going to give them a steep discount of $37 per month if they join as a pre-sale before you actually open your membership. So let's do some math on that. 500 divided by 37, you need 14 people to be able to join your membership. And that's how simple it is. Now, let's just say you want to add your living expenses as well on top and think about that. Let's just say in your job, you're currently making 3,000 US dollars. So 3,500 divided by 37, that means you need 95 members to join your founding member launch. Now, when you think about those numbers, you can start to logically look at your business and really decide how big is your email list should be, how much outreach you need to get done, how much collaborations you need to do in order to build up to get to those numbers, to be able to A, replace your business expenses, and B, replace your living expenses so you can actually create recurring revenue in your business to replace your salary. And thus, you are covering your living without trading your time, but by providing value. So that's the formula. Hopefully you got value from this particular training. I know it's a lot to take in. I have a lot of resources on this particular topic as well. So I will leave all the information for you to check out. It's going to be all listed below wherever it is that you're watching this video. And that's about it. Really appreciate you watching. Again, my name is Iran Bukai. I am the founder of .com Truths, that's my main brand, and also confettipage.com, which is my software company, and so on. And that's about it. I'm a digital nomad. I am currently in Dubai recording this video, but I'm actually, as a nomad, I travel, and I'm currently living in Bali. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my life in Bali at the moment. I've been traveling for close to 2 years as a digital nomad, and I've kind of made Bali my home. I have a full-time assistant that is basically in charge of my wellness. He takes care of my food, my schedule, my fitness routine, and he trains me every day and helps me with all that stuff. These days, I actually have 300 plus members in my memberships, by the way. So it's evolved a lot from just an expert Q&A membership. It's a lot more. It's expert Q&A. I've got templates and guides and courses and various things like that and tech support. And yeah, so it's definitely evolved. But everything I shared with you has all started. Really, everything that I have now, even though it's a lot more extensive than what I told you about the Expert Q&A membership, the reality is the foundational piece here is all about Expert Q&A membership. It's all about being the go-to expert that people are willing to pay for their advice. And this is really something that I'm continually learning about, even as my business grows, as I have more things. The foundation is being able to advise people and answer people's questions. And it all goes back to that. Those questions from your customers are really the foundation of your content. They're the foundation to your offers. They're the foundation to what else is coming next and how you can serve them better. It's the foundation to also keep them in membership. Because if you listen to their questions, and you're answering their questions, then they're going to stay with you for a long time. And of course, when you're creating content, the content, your offers, your future offers is all dependent about the pain points that people are having. And you can only find about those things by actually getting people's questions and feedback. So that's about it. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you. And definitely check out all the free resources I will leave below.